Okay, so we meet again. Hi everyone. So, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, good evening, and depending on where you are. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Ahmad Syarainun Muhammad Syarani. Currently, I'm working with as a Managing Director at Microcorp, Sdn Bhd. We are a leading provider of integrated workplace management system in Malaysia, and I will be responsible for hosting this webinar today. So, Microcorp, in collaboration with Construction Industry Development Boards of Malaysia, are initiating a 7 series of webinar discussing on how facility management activity will need to evolve by exploring the concept and strategy of digitalization. And thank you to CIDB for willingness to collaborate with Microcorp for this webinar. And for today's webinar, we are going to be talking about the IT infrastructure weapon of the battlefield. This webinar is part of our 7 series webinar of 2022, Battle of Digital Transformation in Facility Management. We have been hosting series of webinar, and our webinar basically revolve around one theme, which is the digital transformation in facility management. As you know that the architecture, engineering, and construction industry is leveraging on the availability of technology to gain the optimal result from implementing the digital tools, and the world of facility management encompasses many things, and it's always evolving, and facility management professional tasked with not only improving operation and reducing costs, but also creating a better overall works environments. Digital worlds evolve fast, you know, and the facility management software is no exception. And as we move forwards, relying on modern facilities management technology will become even more critical to the organizational success. In order to stay successful in facility management, the organization need to keep up with the latest trend and technologies. And IT infrastructure is especially important as it becomes the backbone of the technology, which helps to combine digital process and physical operation. Our goal to build awareness among organization and AEC practitioner on the importance of having a comprehensive strategy involving technology advancement, and in order to make project and organization run more efficiently. This webinar aims to acknowledge the importance of technology infrastructure improvement in implementing or managing digital transformation in facility management, and to keep a keen eye on the technological development that are shaping the future of the facility management industry. Okay. With us right now, we have two speakers for today, which are Dr. Hajah Noraini. Assalamualaikum, Doctor. You can meet.
Waalaikumsalam. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, Dr. Hajah Noraini is a lecturer from UIT and Perak. And we also have Mr. Miguel Sanchez. Hi, Miguel, how are you?
I'm very fine. Thank you, everybody, to invite me to be here. It will be a pleasure.
Miguel is a CEO and a chairman of the board of Bruce Platform OU. Okay, before we start, we have a few housekeeping items. Everyone is on mute. And if you have any question for our speaker, please feel free to enter them into the chat box section. And we will be addressing a question at the end of the session. Or you can also ask by raising your hand at the participant section of your Zoom interface. We're also recording this, and the recorded version of today's webinar will be available on demand after the live session. Okay, without any further ado, I would like to turn this over to our first speaker, Dr. Hajah Noraini Saleh. Over to you, Doctor. So you can share your
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Okay, can any of you see my slide?
Yes, you can share the screen, share the project the slide.
Okay. Before I start my presentation for today, I would like to thank to the organizer, Microcorp Sdn Bhd, and CIDB for inviting me to share a bit knowledge about what the webinar today with the title of IT Infrastructure, Weapon of the Battles. Before I go further, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Noraini Saleh from the Center of Study for Estate Management from UITM Perak branch. I've been with UITM for almost 21 years, and my research interest is related to the property management and facilities management, housing, and as well as valuation subject or valuation topics. So the topics of my presentation for today is related to the topic which is entitled "To Invest or Not to Invest, Factor Affecting the IT Investment Decision." So these are the topic that or the point that we'll cover in this presentation for today. Starting from the introduction, a bit information about the industrial revolution process, the benefit of IT infrastructure or technology to the growth of the company, to the satisfaction, to create satisfaction to the workers, and to the benefit to the FM industry. So after that, I will discuss on the decision-making process, because to answer my topic today, we need to make a right decision, whether the decision that has been decided will give benefit to the organization. And before we can do any decision, of course, it must be factors that might affecting the decision process, and lastly the conclusion. Okay, so before I go further, I would like to give an overview what is IT infrastructure all about. IT infrastructure does consist of three main components. The components are hardware, software, and the network. So this system is designed to improve communication between components, linking devices to printer, desktop to network, and server to the cloud. So with this industrial revolution, from this slide, we can look how the technology innovation does change human or does change working condition and human lifestyle from one era to the era where we are today. So the use of steam power, the use of electrical energy, the use of computer and electronic, and until where we are today in the Industrial Revolution 4. Some of the companies are nowadays are adapting the coming of the new Industrial Revolution 5. So by having technology innovation, we can see how the agriculture technology does increase the productivity of the agriculture with the less effort from the farmer, and how the transportation can be transport the food or product or services from one places to places with efficient and effective way, and with the digital devices that we have, thus making the process of teaching, communicating, shopping become more easier and more effective. So meaning that we have to thank to the technology. So by comparing this, the life before we have technology and with technology, of course, there's a lot of changes in our daily activity. For example, the recording system become more accurate when we use the technology, and also how the technology does improve the communication because there are more ways to communicate and collaborate, and of course it will improve the efficiency of day-to-day operation. So meaning that with the cutting-edge technology does change the way how the company and the business operate. and thus increasing the productivity of the business. Meaning that technology has become a vital or critical role in the support of day-to-day operation, as well as giving a strategic position to the organization. So these are the benefits of the technology to the company growth. Of course, with the right technology and right system, it does increase the efficiency and productivity of the business, as well as boosting the innovation activity in the company, and thus this will improve the way how the management plan and work in the business. Meanwhile, the benefit of technology to the employee satisfaction, by having technology, it improves the connection among the employee by having more channel of communication and more collaboration work can be done. And like what we have today, even though we are not in the office, we still can communicate to each other, thus increase the productivity of the work that has been need to be performed by the staff. And because of the technology also, it allowing them to have a sense of accomplishment. And of course, with technology, it encourages more learning and development activities. Because why? With technology, provide more chances to the employees to access to the resources and mean to learn and evolve. So with technology also, how the IT infrastructure does assist the FM activity. So when we talk about smart building does reduce the energy that used in the building. With big BIM or building information modeling does require data to be collected at the early stage of the construction of the building until the stage of the building operation. Meaning that the using technology, BIM technology, does give more information for the facilities manager or to the building operator to make a decision, because accurate data has been collected at the early stage. So it makes the team to make the decision, meaning that the quality of the decision becomes more better. So this will ease the management operation to manage and maintain the building. This does reduce the complaint from the user because of the fast response from the management, thus rectify the problem before they keep complaining and complaining. So of course, with big data collection, it does reduce the rate of depreciation and enhance building life cycle, because the data that has been analyzed can easily detected or easily help the facilities management to identify which area that need to be repaired or need to be rectified. And then with technology also, it does create or it does provide a safety and more secure building where only people or user that authorized can enter the building. So meaning that with this kind of technology does increase the demand from the user. Of course, it will give the user satisfaction of using this building. So even though we have challenges, even though we have many benefits that related to technology, but still we need to take care about the drawback of the technology to facilities management activity. For example, we need to think about the manpower supply. So what we should do for the current staff that with unskilled or semi-skilled staff. So how we are going to manage this staff, because all the activity has been replaced by the automation activity. So these are the challenges the company need to think with relate to the technology. And then the issue of data security. The company needs to aware of the data security, because it open to the risk of cyber attack. And then the third challenges is about high cost of maintenance. When we invest in IT infrastructure, for example, if we need to buy the BIM technology or to invest in building information modeling, it does require high cost, because the software and to upgrade or to maintain the software is high cost. So that this will require a high skill staff to manage and maintain the technology that the company use. So these are the things that should be taken care by the company when they would like to invest or to upgrade the IT infrastructure. So that's why it is important to have a good decision making, so that the investment that the company make does worth to the business value of the company. So decision making process actually is important activity at the management level, because by having a right decision, it portrays a good image to the company, because with right decision making, it will give a clear direction to the business, how the business can achieve goal that created, or how the business can achieve the objective. Thus give an extra miles to the company to compete with the competitors. So meaning that a good decision making eliminate the risk of committing the wrong IT investment. Even though many are argued about the IT value, how this technology can give the business value or competitive edge to the company, but still we have looked the so many benefits that related to the IT investment. Therefore, the decision phase must be done before actually picking the right system or right IT infrastructure to be used in the company. So when we talk about decision-making process, these are the steps that need to be done by the company or by the organization. The first step is related to the analysis and planning. So meaning that the analysis and planning is we need to think how the external and internal factors does influence the way how we do business. So therefore, we need to identify business goal and objective. At this stage, we need to identify how to achieve goal and the objective of the organization. What strategy will be best to achieve all those goal or objective? And then second step, the company should evaluate on cost and benefit, meaning that they have to list down what are the benefits that they can gain from the investment. So this to be called as cost benefit analysis, because when we talk about technology, of course, it involves huge investment needed. And then step 3 is about the selection and implementation. At this stage, we need to find what are the best selection for IT infrastructure to be used in the company so that it will enhance the facilities management activity. And we have to think about this system must be under whose responsibility. And then step 4 is about implementation evaluation. So this process does need to evaluate the performance of IT infrastructure that we are going to invest, and we have to think how does this technology will affect the productivity of the company. And then last step is the monitoring of the performance. This process must be done regularly, so that by doing this regularly, we will be able to check the performance of the business, or the IT strategy that we use must be aligned with the business need. Okay, when we talk about factors that affecting to the investment technology decision, so there are two main factors that can be divided into two main factors: the factors that related to the internal factors and the factors that related to the external factors. So what are the internal factors? The internal factors are organizational factors, reduced cost, human resources factors, business factors, and the technologies factors. So these are actually related to the company itself. And then, meanwhile, the external factors is the factors that related to the external of the organization. Normally, it's beyond the control of the organization or the company. So the factor is political, economical, social, technology, financial crisis. And then by understanding of these two factors, we will be able to do a SWOT analysis. Then after do the SWOT analysis, we can make a proper decision. So the internal factors that related to the organizational factors is the size of the company. So the bigger the company, of course, the more IT infrastructure will be needed to do the operation of the business. Same goes to the organizational structure, and if we have a complicated organizational structure, meaning that we need to think how to collaborate or how to communicate in the organization. And then, of course, the support from the top management will become priority when we need to do a decision whether to invest or not to invest. And then when we talk about reduced cost, we need to think about how the investment can reduce the operation of the business. Whether we can, by having those technology, the cost of operating is lesser than the income that we gain. And then about the human resources factor is the factor that related to the human resources. Whether we have more skilled staff or whether we have semi-skilled staff. So if, let's say, we have more skilled staff in the company, it does give a strength to the company to adapt with the new technology that we are going to invest. And business factor is related to the expansion of the business, meaning that the presence of new branches will thus influence the technology or infrastructure that need to operate the business. So meanwhile, the technological factors, we need to identify the current technology, whether the current technology will be able to meet the changes in the surrounding. So if, let's say, the current technology cannot meet the demand of the user, so meaning that we have to invest for the new technology infrastructure. Meanwhile, the external factors such as political factors is related to the political stability. If let's say the politics in our country is stable, meaning that more investors will come to our country. And meanwhile, the economical factors is about the way how the economy environment that affect the organization in terms of interest rate. When we need to make a loan to increase our capital, of course, with the high interest rate, it will thus increase the operation of our business. So we have to think about this when we need to loan or to increase our capital by with the aid of banks. And then social is related to demand and supply of the product or services. So of course, it will affect the way how we do the operation as the demand trend has changed. So meaning that we have to make sure that the demand that we produce, the demand can be the company can fulfill the demand from the user. And then with relate to the technology, we need to look what the changes in the technology that the country have. So whether the technology that the company have is better or lesser than the technology that offered by the government. So we need to whether to adapt or to adapt the technology so that it suited the organization operation. And then about the financial crisis factors, it's related to the investor, how the reaction of the investor will react to the financial situation of the country. Thus, if let's say many companies are going bankrupt, of course, if one of the company is our supplier, of course, it will affect the way or it will affect the business operation. So by understanding external and internal factors, the next step is to do SWOT analysis. So we need, by understanding that, we should be able to identify what are the strengths of the company. So we need to build the strength so that we can create a competitive advantage. And then we need to eliminate whatever weaknesses that we have, and as well as when we have the opportunities with relates to the company, we have to exploit all the opportunities for the benefit of the company growth. If we have threat, if we do nothing about that, so it does reflects to the income of the company. So whether we are going to mitigate or we have to do something in order to solve this problem. So as a conclusion, I would like to say that, or I would like to conclude that before do any IT investment, the company need to really identify what is IT infrastructure that they need in order to meet the company or to boost the performance of the company. So the company should think how IT create potential sources of value and measure not only the cost but also the impact of infrastructure. Second, by making right decision in IT investment, it thus increases the agility of the business and allow it to react to the changes. When IT is working to support business growth, it leads to the happier or more productive team, and it will give a high profit to the company. And lastly, IT infrastructure strategy must be aligned with the business strategy. meaning that every aspect of the IT strategy should support the business goal. Okay, so IT strategies should be aligned and must be support the business objective or business goal. So before I end my presentation for today, I would like to take what has been said by Steve Jobs related to technology. Okay, technology is nothing. What's important is that you have a faith in people that they are basically good and smart. And if you give them to, they will do wonderful thing with them. So with that, I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Haja Noraini Saleh from UiTM. She's full of insightful information, and thank you also for emphasizing of the process in order for us to move towards to the digital transformation, especially on today's topic about IT infrastructure. Okay, and we have another speaker. We would like to invite our second speaker, Mr. Miguel Sanchez from Estonia. Over to you, Miguel. You can unmute your mic.
Me.
Yeah, good. Yep.
I'm muted now.
Yeah,
I'm muted.
right.
Sorry, I was having some mistake doing here but I will immediately share my screen. Okay, you can share while the other participant is sharing. Someone else is sharing.
Yeah, I think Doctor, you need to unshare your screen. All right. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Excellent presentation. Thanks a lot. Now is my turn, hopefully not to bore you, but to show something interesting. Okay, I'm sharing right now. Please confirm to me that this is visible.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for this opportunity to share our experience of more than 25 years in providing technology for facility management and real estate management infrastructure, etc. And more than 15 years of cloud. And more than 15 years in cloud computing delivery. The title of my presentation is Cloud Future. I will put that in context with the previous excellent presentation about IT infrastructure. Today, I will share with you not only our experience, but also our vision and our next revolutionary product. You see there the Archibas logo. I have been introduced as Bruce platform, and I will explain. Bruce is one of those products I'm going to show today, but we are Archibas Hosting Services, the company that is in charge of Archibas software delivery globally in the cloud. I would like to make some, I have to look, where is my mouse here? I would like to make some remarks about what this cloud means in the context of the previous presentation. Let's say that cloud should be considered like the outsourced IT infrastructure, meaning what we call software as a service or platform, in that case, infrastructure as a service. And that means that all this that has been explained, that is absolutely correct and perfect in terms of the process of decision making in the business. Now it has another dimension to aggregate there, and the dimension is: do we make the investment on our own premises, meaning do we make capital expenses? Or the other option is that do we adopt the technology from some service provider, cloud provider, And in that case, we convert our investment instead of CapEx in OpEx, meaning operational expenses. This has been the question from a long time ago, and this is what I'm going to explain in my presentation of today. And we will try to bring you some kind of, let's say, valuable ideas to take your own decisions, okay? In 2007, when even the concept of cloud, it was not existent. It was created, this company, Archivas Hosting Services, in Spain. I'm from Spain. And we created our own Archivas Hosting Service data center. It was an investment over 1 million euros. And we had the vision of the cloud concept in 2005, but it took something like 2 years to prepare the business model, the technology, the idea, what now everybody knows as software as a service. As I said, in that time, it was application service provider. In that time, the very first, I would say 5 years, since 2007 till 12, 11, something like that, it was complicated. The market was not ready. The concept of cloud was creating suspiciousness, I would say, in IT departments. There were confusing concepts, cloud, online solution. They had different understandings of different audiences. And the main question everybody was having there is, where is my data? And even some governments, some companies and corporations, they put in their own rules to have the data as close as possible. But why they decided to go to cloud, why they decided to externalize or outsource that IT infrastructure? And the main answer for that is because, as we have seen in the previous presentation, this is very costly, it's very complex sometimes. And the big companies, governments even, they prefer to focus in their main core business and not to have to derivate resources or implement resources just to maintain their IT infrastructure, okay? And that means that that was going on, and we were able to be successful, even with that very complicated initial times. And we were taking our decisions. One of them, it was one of the ones that I think has been more clever, is that we decided not to use our own private data center, and we began to work with what we call authorized hosting partners. And we made agreements with IBM Cloud, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Oracle Cloud. All of them you know very well right now. In that time, it was very challenging. And that means that now we have built a global network. We had to implement, and that was very, very trending, or let's say very visionary also, that we created a very specific Archivas hosting architecture that it consists in something from 5 to 7 layers. I will not go too much technical, I don't know, but I am open for questions afterwards. Every single project of Archivas hosted requires from 5 to 7 layers, meaning servers, services, and all kind of IT devices. It was also complex and innovative to create a multi-private cloud ecosystem, meaning we are able to synchronize data between different international data centers, monitoring multinational data centers, and securing all these transactions. And the most important thing, following all the regulations that are in all the global areas regarding data protection and intellectual protection rights. But here we are. We did it, we made it happen. And nowadays, let's say, when we move the things fast forward, and we are in 2021, everything began to change. Nobody asked anymore, where is my data? That question is almost understandable, that who knows actually, but as it was in the previous presentation, I like it very much. This is Steve Jobs' phrase. It's about trust. It's about, and the fact is that nowadays the main question is about how secure is my data. The problem was not anymore the localization, but now is the cyber security is a problem. One of the reasons of externalizing the IT, meaning one of the reasons to consider IT outsourced and not in-house, is exactly because of cybersecurity. Because there's a lot of studies that demonstrates that most of the enemies who will want to take our corporate data are inside of our organization, meaning those ones who really would like to take our data, misuse our data, are our own employees or our own provider, meaning are close to us. As far as we put that in a context that is not inside of the company, we have better resources, more professional resources, and more neutral, meaning nobody having like these intentions. And even more, when we are in the middle of a huge big data center where millions of corporations are keeping their data, nobody really knows where our data is. Then once again, we made it happen, and it took also a big effort, but we were able to get all the most advanced certifications and regulations accomplishment in the world that are right now. Archivas Hosting Services became having its own ISO 27001, that you know is the 27001 ISO protects the data of customers, and we began that since 2009. We decided to move from Spain to Estonia. For those ones who doesn't know Estonia, just very small words about Estonia. Estonia is a small country in the north of Europe, in the Nordic part, with also the Baltic area. But for bring some insights about Estonia, Estonia is the country who invented the Skype, and this is what we are using right now. We have to thank some of Estonians, actually, I can say friends of me, the creators and the architect of Skype. Also, Estonia is the headquarters of NATO Cooperative Cyber Defense Center, meaning all the NATO cybersecurity management is made here in Tallinn. It's a very trending and high-level country regarding IT. Is considered, together with Singapore, probably the two most advanced countries in the world about this topic. And it was for us a very important decision, because that has bring us to this, I would say, close ability to have resources and knowledge. But yeah, that was about the past. And the title of my presentation was Cloud's Future. I want to talk about the future. We have been visionaries. We have been creating all these things in a very early stage, and we had to be, I would say, market makers. In ITC, in information technology and communication industry, 3 years are like 10 in some other one. To keep our innovative and visionary image, we have to keep moving forward. And this is what we do every day in our Archivas Hosting Service Innovation Center in Tallinn. Archivas Hosting Service is very much involved with the Estonian startup movement. We are participating as business angels, investors, and of course, we are taking advantage to develop our own future in collaboration with the most amazing ideas and technologies. And those are the ones I'm going to show you. I have seen also in the previous presentation, it was quite very nice said that there are challenges, of course, in the industry, in the technology. I would say we have to be in the sweet spot, providing the best for the business and the best for what the technology can give to us. But one of the things is that we have to be solving problems. If we don't solve problems, nothing is really useful. And those are the problems we have to solve from now on. Most of the systems, most of the IT infrastructures has been defined, has been created to be corporate systems, meaning individual systems. I have my own facility management system. I have my own ERP system. I have my own wherever. Every single bank has its own. Every single company has its own. The big problem here is that we are not individuals anymore. We are global. We are connected. And in the previous presentation, it was said in some of the slides, I don't remember the number, about 4 or 5, that is about connecting employees. But it's not only connecting employees, it's also connecting collaborators, meaning employees from other providers, suppliers, other, let's say, parties in the value chain, okay? Then this is about collaboration, but also it comes the problem of integration. What that means? Yes, it means that we have many of those parties that they have their own systems. They have been going through their investments on IT infrastructure, their investments in technology, and they have already in place systems that they are working and solving their own problems. But they want to connect that with the rest of the parties that are in the I would say, value chain. And then it comes, the next challenge is about securing that transactions. Okay, it's nice to connect, to integrate, to collaborate. That is very, very, very beautiful and very nice. And technically speaking, not so complicated. It's very easy to connect systems. The question is it easy to connect securely the systems? And the answer is no. That is not so easy. It's very easy to make a connection, yes, but it's not so easy to make a secure connection and a transaction where we can make unmutable the data and the transfer data, or even certify who has been the sender is the sender and who said to be the receiver is the receiver, okay? And this is one of the challenges. And finally, the challenge nowadays is everybody has data. Data is probably one of the new gold, is the new really value. The question is everybody ready to share their own data? And the answer is not so easy, but is everybody looking to know the benchmarking of all the aggregated data of everybody? For example, how much it costs the cleaning per square meter in the center of Kuala Lumpur? Yeah, everybody would like to know that. But the question is it everybody able to share that information from their own systems? No. And that because also we have been affording, or let's say, looking up to this challenge of shareable benchmarking, what we call preserving privacy analytics and benchmarking. And this is my phrase to conclude those challenges. We have to consider that we have been going from the in-house IT infrastructure to the cloud. The cloud is, okay, let's use something that is external. But now the next step is not only use that is externalized, but instead to use only for me, let's use that shared between us and all the parties that are involved in the value chain. And this is the concept of platform. And that means we have to go from cloud to platform. And this is the situation that we have to face in the next probably 5 years. These stakeholders, these parties that are members of that platform, they have to change their business conception from the individualistic business to what is called platforms. And platforms is a firm, is a corporation that is absolutely ready to work in a digital world where the context of digitalization is shareable, is, let's say, connected. And here we are. We have made it, and we have it, and we have been creating something that it's covering all those challenges. In 2020, we made our first internal demo for Archivas community. We created Bruce platform. The name Bruce, probably I think has been, it was many times in Malaysia, and he loved your country. We have been using this name Bruce in honoring of Archivas founder, Bruce Kenneth Forbes, actually a good friend of me, and I know also a very good friend of Shireen. He, unfortunately, he passed away 5 years by now because of horrible cancer. But we wanted to use his name for this that we consider revolutionary. And here we are to solve all that challenges. We really, essentially, we would say that Bruce is about collaboration, integration, and secure transactions. The current understanding of system integration is just connect through the cloud or through the internet using APIs, and then just connecting one to the other to the other. That creates this mess I have here in the left side of my slide. And all the parties are connected, yes, but are they secure? Are they really having the same understanding of the things? Are they certified transactions? This is what we are offering with this Bruce platform concept. And we are using a private blockchain for business. I will explain now, I can elaborate more about why this blockchain for business. In the case of those ones who knows what blockchain is a very complex algorithm integration between different nodes to keep transactions secure. And it was invented for the cyber currency. I would say not so far from Estonia. There are a lot of, nobody knows, it's a mystery who has been invented that, but I can say that not so far from Estonia. But the blockchain was meant to make the cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, but it has many good things, but not those all things are needed for business transactions. And this is what we have been doing. We have been creating like taking the best of blockchain and those parts that are absolutely essential for business transactions, but taking off all those ones for monetary or currency management. Not all the parties that are involved in this, I would say, a concept of integrated or connected industry, meaning governments, builders, promoters, architects, engineers, facility management companies, service providers. Not all the parties have their own software solution. I mean, IDMS or CMMS. Our next step has been to develop a 21st century solution that is fully cloud. It's also mobile first, but it's absolutely based in Bruce platform concept. And it covers segments that are not targeted, in that case, by our product Archivas. We created this is what we call DRE&M. You can read it as DREAM, and it's about digitalization for real estate and asset management. I don't have so much time. I will not go so far with that, but of course we are absolutely open to organize with you sessions, and through Microcorp you can organize even demos if you are. But I will explain what are the 5 domains of Bruce DRE&M: are assets, works, finance and administration, systems, and people. When I mention systems, I will explain, I will elaborate. One of those systems perfectly can be Archibus, okay? And it is already, it was the very first thing we connected. What are the technology enablers of DRE&M? Those are the ones. The very first one, I explained it a little bit, it's this blockchain for business, that it makes the transactions fully accurate and mutable, and also certifying who is the sender and the provider. But also we had to implement, and this implemented already, the concept of a smart contracts in an open way, because we have made this universal, and these smart contracts specific for facility management. What that means is that only those parties who have a smart contract between them for any kind of service provision, they can share their data. We have been implementing the privacy preserving analytics, what brings and provides the chance to get analysis out of this big data that we are generating every day for those parts that are really sharing information. We have been implementing artificial intelligence for the system integration. This concept that all the different systems from different vendors, different manufacturers are able to connect is only possible thanks to the last and probably the most important piece here, that is this universal data set and elements identity. Meaning we have been creating, after all these 25 years of experience, one universal data set for facility, real estate, infrastructure, and assets management. And it works. It works. We have been testing, and we are every day more and more proud of our philosophy. But of course, this is something is keeping growing because technology never stays. Okay. I have here some slides. I don't know how is my time. I can explain a little bit more from Bruce from the technical point of view, or I can jump to the. Yes, Ren is making with his head. I can go ahead. Okay. Then Bruce platform, as I said, is connecting different assets, different systems. It's about connection. Okay. And for us, it's a very important that topics like smart building, smart cities, smart communities, sometimes are very difficult to implement because we are trying to integrate different devices with totally different software, different approaches, technical approaches. But thanks to Bruce, that is now much more easy, okay? And as it's written here, enables full and secure integration of different systems, meaning this secure is one probably of the most important things. Technically speaking, how it works, any software you have here even can be our own Bruce DRE&M, whatever application or IoT device has its own API. This API usually we are connecting through internet to another system. What we put here in the middle is what we call the Bruce connector. And then this is in white, it would be like in-house part. And in gray is internet, okay? Then it comes this piece that is essential, is what we call the Bruce gateway. And the Bruce gateway can be in 2 modes. It can be a physical hardware appliance that you put in your rack, in your network rack, in your own office. And that is your, how to say, most secure gateway to connect to Bruce, but we provide also the security server option that is hosted in the cloud. Obviously, that the appliance is more secure and more recommendable for big infrastructures, for example, a big city, a smart city, or complexes, campuses. But for a small, it's really incredibly secure, the server, and obviously much better than connecting through API. Okay. This is the diagram of the gateway, how it is technically speaking. Those are what we call the building blocks. We have the, I will not elaborate too much because this is probably even boring, but I will keep on the ones that are giving some substance to understand. Identity ledger is because every single element, every single asset, every single piece, every single elevator, every single whatever system we are tracking has his own identity. It doesn't matter if the elevator is owned by Mr. B and let's say provided by Mr. P and let's say handled or managed by Mr. Manager. All of them are using the same elevator. And that elevator in Bruce has only one identity. In order nobody confuses, because even if they have different systems with different codes, in Bruce, there is only one code for the same element. And that is also applicable or applied to the what we call members or users. We call members because we understand that those ones that are connected to Bruce are corporations, are governments, and they have to care about their own users. But for us, the identity is the corporation, the government, the department, the division, the subdivision. Those are. And they are also having their own identity. The service access is the one that is connected with the smart contracts and is the one is in relation with that smart contracts and also with all the system that is accepting or authorizing the access, is not only authorizing access to the platform, but is also governing or handling or orchestrating who has transactions with who based on the based on the smart contracts. And then it comes the preserving privacy analytics access, that is the one is holding or let's say handling or orchestrating all the benchmarking and data, big data access. Of course, there is an user interface. For those ones who has their own software, they need to use an external user interface for accessing Bruce and connect their software with Bruce. For those ones that are just using Bruce DRE and M, is just transparent, I would say. Then it's everything about the network, and this is probably one of the most challenging things, and it's where it comes, this blockchain for business. We have this, what we name it, the security server. They are distributed globally, and those security servers are having their own connections that are our private blockchain, okay? I think this is my last one for today. As I said before, I am open for questions, but also I am open for future connections or presentations if someone requires through Microcorp, please. I just wanted to show you today who we are, from where we come, and where we go. Probably the most important aspect I was looking to show is that we can be very proud to have been the very first man in the moon. I put that in brackets, very first man in the moon in many aspects in our history, for sure in our sector of built environment management industries. And thank you very much for your presence here and for your time.
Yeah, great. I think we have got a very good opportunity tonight to see, I think the best, and then I think the first ever technology in talk about that blockchain and real estate and asset management. I think it's more than that. And thank you so much, Miguel. I think we are. I think we would like to go ahead for a question now. So first we have a question from one of the speaker, I think Mr. Mahendran Chitya. Okay, so he asked about how are they protecting our data? Is it replicate to a multiple destination? I think this must be related to the.
Yeah, it was. I think it's for me.
Yeah.
There is after the problem in 11 September it was a mandate to put the data backups in different places, because if you, let's say you have your servers and under the drawer you have another let's say system for backup, but if something happened in the building or something happened in the premises, is absolutely no go. Then it was like a mandate in many cases that you should have to put your backup in different location. But of course it came there, your question, okay, how is it possible if I say that my data has to be in this region? For example, there are regions established by regulation, like in Brexit, for example, in the UK now, no data can go out of the UK, or in Europe, or in some countries of Middle East, they have some restrictions, and for sure in Asia. We do is that keeping that regulations, the backup is transferred for from one data center to another data center located in the same region to avoid conflicts of this, let's say, legal regulation. And all these backups are encrypted, meaning if someone takes those backups, they cannot do anything. They don't understand anything because it's encrypted. The only decryption system is in the hosted Archibus project, meaning we made the backup. If for whatever reason the backup has to be restored, it's restored, decrypting the previously encrypted solution.
Okay, I think this another question to Dr. Hajah Nuraini. In Malaysia, do you see this trend digitalization is, digitalization or the company are still lagging behind? Especially on the FM.
Because regarding the technology that the company have right now, there are still need to be improved further, because some of the facilities management company or the property management company does reluctant to invest with not to reject the technology, but they still curious about the benefit of the IT to their business to achieve the business goal of business by whether this technology are creating a business value to their organization.
Yeah, I believe on you, but they're not reluctant to invest their iPhone, you know.
Yeah, even though the iPhone is higher value, but they still have money to invest with iPhone technology.
Yeah. I think we need to do something when they want to transform the business. I think they need to look back on the what type of handphone they use, you know, why they are investing the iPhones, you know? I mean, why they are investing the highest technology on the communication. Okay. Okay, I have another question for Miguel. You know, what is an effective strategy in convincing an organization on the importance of providing adequate funding for digital infrastructure transformation?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
I write it again. What is an effective strategy in convincing an organization on the importance of providing adequate funding for digital infrastructure transformation?
I would say that, but in my opinion, one of the most important topics nowadays is not to get a loan, because as I said in my presentation, and also I saw in the previous one, now it's not only about handling your data, looking for improving your processes, looking to reduce your cost, or looking to, let's say, give a better life for your employees. Not only, because the main problem right now is if you want to be involved in the global process, not global in the sense of a universe, but in the sense of your neighborhood even, everybody uses technology. And then if you are out of this digitalization process, then you are out of business. Because it's a challenge. It's not a challenge, it's a trend. Everybody is getting technology. If you don't adopt technology, then you are not able to work in the same language with your stakeholders.
Yeah, correct. I think in order for us to embrace, in order for us to stay viable, you need to also embrace the technology. Otherwise, somebody are not recognized as, or maybe somebody not knowing that we are exist so in the market.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have last question for Dr. Haja Noraini. I think what do you think about the preparation of the student in the embracing this kind of technology currently happen in UiTM?
Okay, with relate to the student, the IT knowledge is a must. Without IT knowledge, it will unable to the student to compete with their with the other graduates in the same field. So by having a good knowledge of that related to technology, does enhance the value of the student to the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, it's true. I think it's important to make sure that our
students are very fully
students
equipped with the knowledge of IT.
Yeah. So this is important because this is our future workforce, you know. So it's no longer using pen and pencils, and they need to equip with the knowing how to utilizing iPads in conducting the safety management operation. Not only the iPad but also other mobile devices. And also the other Internet of Things devices that they might be available in the future that we are not even know until today, and people are continue investing, innovating, you know, innovates and new products and new devices in the market. Okay.
If you let me, because yes, I have been showing I'm the man of the future, you know.
Yeah, please.
And I will aggregate that for this thought. This question that is incredibly important is the same if someone should have been asking in the, let's say, 20th century, what is the importance for reading and writing?
Yeah.
Because yes, in that time, probably many people are saying, no, the only thing you need is a spade in your hand to cut heads. But it turned out that no, it's very, very, very important to become educated and to know how to write and how to read.
Yeah.
And now we are in 21st century, and my dear friends, I think it's essential to have some background in IT, not to be an analphabet in our society.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good good remark from Miguel. Yeah. So if otherwise, you know, last time we thought that you need to learn how to read and write, but now it's no longer just read and write, but you need to do other things in order to stay viable, to stay alive, you know. So, okay, it's like we cover everything. If anything else, Miguel, that you want to add before we end the event?
No, I'm just overexcited to have had this opportunity to share my opinions and my thoughts, and very welcome to keep the contact, and whoever wants, I'm open for you to support or provide information or experience.
Yeah, yeah. I think I mean, this is the new things in the market currently, so that we bring it over far away from Australia to Malaysia, and whoever that interested to learn more, to know more, and we can have maybe we can organize another more event with the CIDB to know more about this DREM, you know, dreams, you know, Bruce Dreams. You know, it's very good coin names, you know. Digital real estate and asset management. So it's something that's also related to our topic, our webinar series, digital transformation in FM. Last word from you, Doctor.
Okay, once again, I would like to thank to Microsoft 9 Berhad and CIDB, Microcorp 9 Berhad and CIDB for this sharing session. I hope that the audience here will get the benefit from this sharing session.
Yeah, before we end this webinar session, participant, please take out a few moments, fill in feedback forms to obtain CCD and CPD point from CIDB, and it's free for you, whoever that attending this event. The link for the feedback form will be posted or already been posted in the chat box section. And great thanks, and thank you for CIDB for making this webinar a success. We appreciate you being here with us tonight. We have 115 people, and we will see you on the 7th webinar session, which is on Tuesday, 20 December, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And don't forget to join our next webinar series under the topic about fear of technological change for the final battles. And Assalamualaikum and good night. And thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Dr. Hajah Noraini. And we will have, yeah. Again, I think you are muted, Miguel. Yeah. So we will have another next week. Next 2 weeks with this fear of technological change, the final battles, and we will having another speaker from the industry and from the other academician to share with us. And without thank you for you all understanding with us, and thank you again, and good night.